spin, gets the snap. He scrambles around, throws it back corner of the end zone. Santonio with a touchdown! Santonio holds! I don't know how he did it!
What a throw! What a catch! What a game!
Wilson, quick throw, and it's good. Intercepted! Intercepted by Malcolm Butler! Butler has it at the one! Malcolm Butler stepped in front of the throw! And the Patriots have possession!
Tatum drives down and throws it down! Wow! Brown to Smart, Smart to Tatum. Sets, fires, three-pointer, bang! Jason Tatum has electrified the crowd.
Good evening, good afternoon, whatever time it is for you, and welcome back to the JM Touchdown Show. Today is July 6th, and this is the 12th episode. Joining me today, as I am Joe Fanatics Sports, is Mike Kennedy of Mike Kennedy NFL. Now, Mike, we have some big news, finally, about one of the two quarterbacks that was looking to get traded for the rest of the offseason. Start us off.
Joe, Baker Mayfield. Finally. I feel like since the very first episode of the JMT show, we've been talking about, where is Baker Mayfield going to go? Where is Baker Mayfield going to go? And then it kind of died down for a while. But finally, the Carolina Panthers made a move. They traded just a conditional 5th-round pick to receive him. First takeaways, go.
I actually made a TikTok about this as soon as it happened. I was a huge fan of this for the Panthers. Now look, I do not believe that Baker Mayfield is elite, obviously. But during his 2020 season, I would say he was around top 12. And I think it should have happened again last year. But obviously, as we know, he played through injury to try and take this Browns team to the playoffs and, obviously, hopefully a Super Bowl. But as we all know, that didn't happen. And maybe that affects his career going forward, the injury, because he played through it for, I think he got injured in week 2.
It was early. I don't remember the exact week, but it was.
Yeah, so he played through it for like 15, 14-ish weeks, let's say. That might have some longer-term effects than we think it might have. But anyways, anyone, like literally anyone, is an upgrade over Sam Darnold. I mean, and to get a starting caliber quarterback for a 5th-round pick, well, yes, it makes sense because the Browns had no leverage, there was too much money, and they did split it. The Browns are paying $10 million, the Panthers are paying $5 million, and Baker took a $3.5 million pay cut. That was off the top of the head.
Co-host guy, yeah.
Yeah. But in general, I love this move for the Panthers. I mean, obviously bad move for the Browns, but I mean, they don't care because they got their potentially franchise quarterback, depending on, punishments. And in general, though, I think it's a great move for DJ Moore. He's going to be great next season. And I know you don't care about this, but for my fantasy football players, you are going to love him with Baker Mayfield. DJ Moore has been terrible in fantasy and great in real life because he gets like 1,000 to 1,100 to 1,200 yards, which is nice, but the touchdowns are almost never there. He gets a decent amount of receptions, but not like a ton, not as much as you want. He averages about 11 fantasy points per game, and I believe half PPR. So, and I play full PPR though. So people are going to love that. Robbie Anderson is going to kill himself because he's probably going to retire. Not actually, but he did not want Baker Mayfield from the start, so I don't know how he's feeling. McCaffrey, I mean, this affects you minorly. He's probably this is the best thrower of the football anyone on this team has really ever had because, I mean, they had Cam, who had a strong arm but was not very accurate, had bad mechanics. And now you go to Baker Mayfield, who is a kind of a gunslinger, can also be a game manager at times. It really depends on how he's feeling that day. But overall, great move for the Panthers. Gave up nothing and are paying him nothing. And I know they don't want to move on from Sam Darnold. Move on in quotes. There's going to be a competition. We all know who's going to win it, but they don't want it. They can't cut him. They can't. The best they'll get from him in a trade is like the 52nd man on your roster. So overall, great move.
Yeah, Joe, I don't know if you've seen, but now Robbie Anderson has tried to walk back his comments. He's saying that he never said that, and it's just the media trying to paint him in a bad light. It's like, you posted that. Like, it was you.
You commented it, yeah. Wait, did he post it on Instagram or did he comment?
It was a comment, but like,
Okay.
we all saw it. It was your account. You have a verification, but
Chosen One RA, I think. I'll follow him.
something like that.
Who follows Robbie Anderson?
He's really weird. Like, he's been posting weird stuff for months.
I
don't follow him. I just see he's one of those cryptic wide receivers, you know. But
like Kyrie.
Yes, honestly. But
Not to the same extent, though.
I don't think anybody is
No
to
one.
that
No
extent.
one.
But he's in the neighborhood.
Antonio.
Okay. No one's in the neighborhood of Antonio Brown. There's AB a gap, Kyrie a gap, everybody else.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't really.
No. If you look at, if you look at who Terry Rozier follows on Twitter, it is so weird.
He had
The
that.
amount of porn accounts that guy follows is ridiculous. I saw this on, I think I saw it on TikTok. Dude, it's just all porn and feet stuff, and I'm like, what are you doing?
Does he follow like a lot of people, or?
I'm gonna have to look.
I thought you were gonna reference his old Bin Laden tweet.
No, I don't even know what you're talking about, honestly.
He's saying like, Bin Laden's 7 feet tall. Why is he doing all this? He should be in the NBA dunking on people. Obviously, not word for word, but it was fun.
He follows 872 people.
Okay, see, that's not a lot. So he actually sought out. It's not like, he's following 30,000 people and those just got lost in the mix. I like how.
No, I mean, nothing's wrong with it, but dude, make a burner.
Right.
At Messi Head Lover. He follows Mia Malkova.
Not even gonna pretend like I know who that is. I can tell you're cultured.
Little bit.
Great start to the podcast.
Throat snatches. Yeah, no, it's bad. Yeah, and it's just a lot of OnlyFans chicks, and it's like, how much do you think of his NBA contract goes into OnlyFans?
10 minutes ago, I never would have predicted that this would ever be a topic on the podcast. But now you got me wondering, because
let's run a poll. I'm
this is your, like I said, we don't need to label who does the tweets, because if you know us, you know.
Of Terry
People are going to be so
Rozier's
confused before they listen to the podcast.
How much Terry Rozier's NBA contract goes into OnlyFans? All right, let's be able to spell subscriptions. 10,000 or more. 10,000. 9,999 or less.
It's exclusive behind-the-scenes content of the JMTD show.
I'm afraid of this tweet. All right.
Baker Mayfield, that's a thing that happened.
So it goes Antonio Brown, gap, Kyrie, gap, Terry Rozier, apparently, gap, everyone else.
When we think of more people, we'll add them to the list and update you guys weekly.
Yeah.
But back to the topic of the day.
Yeah.
This is
sometimes
a classic episode right here.
You gotta add a little personality. You can't just talk about football. I'm gonna talk about Terry Rozier.
Remember when you went on a rant about what's his face? What's that kid's name?
Oh, Jacob Sartorius.
Yeah.
I hate that kid. Whatever. Keep going. I think we're the same age. Might be a year younger than me.
Jesus. Anyway.
So it wouldn't be assaulting a minor. It would just be assault. So keep going.
Just make sure you're wearing a sweater when you do it.
Am I supposed to get that?
Isn't that like his famous song? Or am I thinking of...
Sweatshirt. Yep. I remember there's this one girl that's dating one of my acquaintances. I see him when I go out type of deal. And she would play that song all the time in 8th grade science class. And I was like, bro, I'm going to kill you. But, all right, Baker Mayfield, the Panthers.
No, I haven't even given my opinion yet because you You took over the podcast, co-host guy.
Co-host guy. Yeah.
But I'll start by saying, yeah, you really cannot overstate just how much of an L this is for Cleveland. From the very beginning, they just completely botched it all. Especially if you look at like any other quarterback or even overall compensation, everyone knew Baker was going to be gone, and they only really had 2 real contenders for his services. And to only get a conditional fifth round pick after selecting him number 1 overall 4 years ago. Yeah. Just 4 months ago, Carson Wentz went for 2 third-round picks to Washington.
And one could be a second.
Right, and they're pretty similar players. Wentz has probably had a better overall career so far, but they're like in the same tier. And this is also a year after the Eagles got a second that turned into a first. And I think they also got a third. Yeah, they got a third and a first for Wentz last year, coming off that horrendous 2020 season. And then a 5th-round pick, another way to look at it, that is the same compensation. I think I've referenced this before, but I'll reference it every time there's a trade like this. The Ravens got a 5th-round pick in 2019 for kicker Kari Vedvik. Kari Vedvik, a kicker who the Vikings traded for before the final game of the preseason. He was so terrible in that game, they cut him. And that's the same compensation that Baker Mayfield just got. So that just puts it into context. There's no way you cannot look at this as an absolute disaster for Cleveland. For Carolina, it's a little trickier. I'm going to go on the other side of what you detailed. Obviously, this is a vast upgrade on what Carolina's had the past few years. Not even just Sam Darnold, but Teddy Bridgewater and Kyle Allen and Will Grier and all that, and even the last couple years of Cam Newton. And this is obviously getting him for this compensation is a steal and a half. But, co-host guy, the worst quarterback in the NFL is a bridge quarterback. Carolina does not have a win-now roster, even in this weaker NFC, to contend for the playoffs.
Especially in the NFC South, which is a very weak division, despite what people will tell you. Because the bottom 2 teams are so bad that it just affects the whole division as a whole.
Exactly.
Like, the top 2 teams will, knock on wood, given my video, go 4-0 in the division against those 2, and then probably split the series against each other. But I'm sorry, keep going.
Yeah, and this is basically just a 1-year window for the Panthers to maximize wins just in 2022, while worsening their chances to get a top quarterback prospect in the future. Because Mayfield he's a solid starting quarterback when healthy. He's probably, in the 20-ish range. He can go up or down a couple of spots depending on how he plays. So he's just going to be mediocre enough to make it so the Panthers cannot get one of the top quarterbacks in the draft without trading up. So I don't really understand what the plan here is, other than this is good for Carolina's coaching staff, which is on the hot seat, perhaps the hottest seat in the NFL, and they want to maximize their wins to... Yeah, you had to think about it.
I was trying to think of it. Yeah.
And if he is somehow really good this year, then they're going to have to pay him. And would you feel confident doing that? Probably not, even if he is an MVP candidate, God forbid. It's just, they missed out on Trevor Lawrence and all the top quarterbacks in last year's class because they wanted to be mediocre with Teddy Bridgewater. I saw someone on Twitter compare the Panthers in the past few years to the Cowboys in the early 2000s when they were cycling through quarterbacks in denial after Troy Aikman retired. They had Randall Cunningham, Quincy Carter, Chad Hutchinson, Vinny Testaverde. At some point, you just have to let a Will Grier type tank your franchise to get a young quarterback, or try developing one of these young quarterbacks on a rookie contract. Like Davis Mills, who knows what to think of him, but at least there's still who knows, They took a shot and He could turn into something. There's only one way to tell. But
You know what I think? Bold prediction. Davis Mills will be similar to Ryan Fitzpatrick.
I can see that. I would not be surprised, honestly. As he was probably, what? Mac Jones was the best rookie quarterback last year. Who was next?
He was second.
It was Davis Mills. Not Lawrence, not
because
Wilson,
Trevor
not
Lawrence
Fields.
threw, like, every
Lance didn't
interception
play.
known to man. Trevor Lawrence threw so many interceptions to the point where it's like, okay, that's brutal. But then some people are like, oh, but he had a bad supporting cast. Yes, but the interceptions he threw were still bad.
Right.
And then Zach Wilson, he was great the second half of the year. Not great, but you know what I mean.
He had a couple of great games.
No, but I don't think he turned the ball over. He didn't throw a single interception in the last 5 games. It's something like that. I promise you. I forget his name on YouTube, but good YouTuber. And then who would it be after that? Fields.
I think Fields was probably the worst.
Well, Trey Lance
He doesn't
count. So I was gonna put him last.
So, co-host guy, it looks like you hit it right on the head.
5.
0 turnovers in the last 5 games of the season. Granted, he averaged 4.4 yards per attempt in one of them, 4.6 yards per attempt in one of them, and 4.8 yards per attempt in one of them.
Okay, but it was still an improvement given the fact of how often he was turning the ball over in the first half of the season.
Yeah,
before his injury.
He threw, 7, 8, 9 picks in the first 5 games, and that's not even including fumbles. So, yeah. Like I said, Mills could be good. But it is funny to think about less than a calendar year ago where we were with Baker Mayfield. He was right in that conversation with Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. People were talking about legitimately giving him a monster contract, which probably would have made him the highest paid quarterback in the league because that's how those deals go. And now traded for a conditional 5th-round pick and having to take a pay cut to do so. He had just he didn't lead Cleveland per se because it was a solid all-around team, but he was a key cog in that 2020 team.
Look, without Baker, they're not going to the playoffs.
No.
Well, not if you were to replace him with a Josh Allen. Obviously they would.
With a league average starter.
Yes.
Yeah, he was
with who's someone that is just so beyond average.
Mike Glennon.
Don't say it. Well, no, he's at bottom. He's not even top 45. But
he was one of the worst quarterbacks I've ever seen in my entire life with the Giants last year.
Oh yeah. Well,
anyways, Baker was 8th in PFF grading in 2020. The Browns' first playoff appearance in 18 years, first playoff win in 26 years, and it was on the road versus their arch rival. So, considering all the circumstances, do you think he was a successful number 1 overall pick? I mean, he turned the Browns franchise around. They won.
All right, so
they'd been
let's
1
go
and
through his
31.
individual stuff, right? Let's go through his individual stuff. He, at the time, held the rookie passing touchdowns record. That was after he came in a Week 3 game
against the Jets.
Tyrod Taylor against the Jets. Yeah, I think Tyrod got hurt, or maybe he was benched. I don't remember.
He got hurt.
Yeah, obviously it's Tyrod Taylor. No disrespect to him. I mean, because of how his career goes. He's not one of the guys I hate. I love him, actually. But, because I know you probably thought from, my reaction, oh, it's just another person he hates. But no.
It did come off that way. You can't deny it.
Yeah, I know. And then he showed a lot of flashes that year. Obviously, the second-year slump. But, I mean, look, they had one of the worst coaching staffs I have ever seen.
I don't know who thought that was a bright idea.
Yeah. And, I mean, was that the first year of Odell and Jarvis?
Yeah.
Well, Jarvis was already there, but yeah. And then Odell he got 1,000 yards, sure, but it was not impressive, 1,000. It was I just scraped it type of, it was like successfully flirting to, go to, Makeout Hill. I think no, that doesn't actually exist, but you know what I mean. You know that saying.
I get that reference.
Because you were saying flirting with 1,000 for, who was it, Marquez Callaway? You were eyeing you, smiling in the hallway. Yeah.
A little behind the scenes
like
content for the JMTD show.
Oh yeah, that was before we started recording. Yeah, we had a great thing going, and then we were like, wait, why didn't we record this? But, anyways, yeah, I don't think he was like a bust.
He was.
Obviously, if you look at the class, you see Josh Allen, you see Lamar Jackson, and you're like, oh. Okay, well then some people might be like, okay, well then obviously he wasn't worth the number 1 pick, but at the time it made sense. Made sense for Cleveland to get that type of personality, like that cocky type of I'm going to try and help your team. Because like if the Browns were to get like a soft-spoken guy, I don't think that would have helped them. I think they needed that like sort of like media attention leader type of deal, and they got that. And I mean, sure, maybe he did more progressive commercials than wins last year. But was it progressive? Yeah. But I mean, I'd say successful. I think he's going to succeed with Carolina.
And it is kind of funny looking back on that 2018 class, how Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson were easily the 2 quarterbacks in that class who were the most ridiculed. They were told to switch positions. They said they were never going to work out, and it's not even close. Like they're way up here. Baker's in the middle, and then.
Those 2 gap, Baker, humongous gap.
And yet now the Panthers have 2 of the top 3 picks from that draft. I think I joked on Twitter they should go out and sign Josh Rosen just for the funniness of it all. That's definitely a word. But
no, it is.
I know it just sounds funny.
Okay.
But
oh, dude, our poll has 2 votes, by the way, both for an insane amount. But keep going.
Speaking of that, I'll check in on our other poll we ran. It was the thoughts on the Panthers trade. They're both real polls, okay? And why did I just click back? All right, thoughts on the Panthers trade for Baker Mayfield. Ooh, it's
hashtag keep pounding.
Gotta get it out there, engagement.
I was just saying.
It was a little teasing. Anyways, we actually have a tight poll for once, co-host Guy. We got 19 votes.
Yeah, actually, for once, literally.
There were 3 options: love it, hate it, and meh. 5.3% of the votes went for hate it. And then the other 47.4% was split, or it was split 47.4 and 47.4 for love it and meh, which you were on the love it train, and I was kind of mad because I get it from like the assets and whatnot. It's a great deal, but for the overall long-term building, but I didn't really mention. We talked about the Panthers receiving core. DJ Moore is obviously a stud. If you want to see why he's the most underrated wide receiver in football, check out youtube.com/MikeKennedyNFL. Shameless plug. Did a video on that last year. But beyond that, it's more names, really, than anything. We know Robbie Anderson, who he was great with the Jets in a limited role, and then in 2020, he had over 1,000 yards. But last year, he was one of the most inefficient receivers in football. He had a 60.2 PFF grade, which was 93rd out of 95 qualifying wide receivers. And he had negative 176 DYAR, which is basically the total value you bring to a team. And that was 90th out of 91 qualifying wide receivers. The only person he was better than was Ray McLeod, which, as a Steelers fan, that says a lot. We know they have Terrace Marshall, disappointing rookie year. He only had 17 catches for 138 yards. Kevin Cole, he works for PFF. He ran some simulations that I'm too dumb to understand.
Oh, I thought you were talking about their 4th receiver or like a tight end or something, and then you went into works for PFF.
It's believable, but yeah, he ran some simulations on comparisons for Terrace Marshall, and they're not good. So hopefully he can bounce back. Brandon Zylstra's their next guy. They did bring in Rashard Higgins, who would be reunited with Baker Mayfield. I always thought he was kind of underrated. And they don't really have anything at tight end either. They have Ian Thomas and Tommy Tremble. Maybe you can say he could turn into something, but yeah, There's going to be a lot of DJ Moore is what I'm trying to say.
And McCaffrey for the 2 games a year.
With him and Saquon Barkley, I don't even like have projections because I cannot count on either one of them to even play extended time. It's just like, oh yeah, he's on the team technically, but it is what it is. But speaking of DJ Moore, solid wide receiver.
Someone else that is a very solid wide receiver.
Trying to lob it up to you.
Got an extension recently, and his name happens to be Terry McLaurin. Terry McLaurin. He signed a 3-year. Don't correct me yet. You gotta get.
You deserve that one.
You gotta get co-host guy. No.
Tom, I know you're listening.
Just send us an audio clip.
His feelings get hurt when I boo him.
I don't have the number in front of me. 3 years, $71.3 million, I believe.
I don't have the numbers in front of me. It goes to a full decimal point.
No, I swear to God, I have JMTD Show episode 12 topics, Twitter, my YouTube studio. Then the other side is Gmail and Riverside. So, was I right?
Yeah. I just listed it as 71. I didn't even put the .3, so.
Co-host guy. Yeah.
Well, I want to see if it's 0.5. I think it's just 71.
Co-host guy.
No.
Come on, I tried. I thought.
Yeah. See, sometimes you give too much information. You gotta hold back just so you make sure you're not wrong. Journalism.
No, but I'm pretty sure I was right though. Oh, not like rap report. All right, you start. I'm looking for this.
This is gonna bug him until he finds it. Yeah, it makes Terry McLaurin the 7th highest paid wide receiver in the NFL per year. He got a $28 million signing bonus, which is the largest ever given to any wide receiver. And he also has 76.4% of the new money in the deal guaranteed. We know McLaurin has had a solid first 3 years of his career, going over 1,000 yards twice, very nearly breaking it the other year. And this is while playing with Washington, one of the most dysfunctional franchises in football, and catching passes from Case Keenum,
8 starting quarterbacks,
Colt McCoy, Alex Smith, Kyle Allen, Taylor Heineke, Garrett Gilbert, Ryan Fitzpatrick, and Dwayne Haskins. So we talked in the other topic how Carson Wentz is, in that 20-ish range. Not a great quarterback, but he's pretty easily the best quarterback McLaurin's ever played with to this point in his career. So McLaurin is one of those guys who you can tell when you watch him he's an elite talent, but the stats don't show it because of the environment around him. I saw Matt Harmon, who does reception perception, does a lot of great wide receiver work. He compared him to Stephon Diggs in 2017 through 2019, and then when he broke out with the Bills in 2020. McLaurin's one of the best route runners in football. He had 94th percentile success rate versus both man coverage and press coverage last year. I think it's only a matter of time before he explodes.
Yeah, at some point he's going to lead the league in receiving yards. I'm saying that right now.
Video topic?
And receptions. Maybe. Anyways, I think it's well deserved. How much of it is guaranteed?
76.4% of it.
Okay.
That's how it was reported.
No, that's fine. I'm
gonna pull out a calculator.
So, I got it. It's 71 million flat, by the way. Oh, god damn it! I did divide it by 54.24 million is guaranteed. So that's very well deserved. I mean, if you let him walk, that just shows how dysfunctional your franchise is with your owner, who most likely will be voted out by the other owners, I think. And it's a great start to a trying to be competitive team in a very weak also kind of a weak conference, but division in the NFC East, I mean, that division's obviously up for grabs. I mean, Washington will not win it, but unless something happens that we don't expect, because you also have to remember they're also getting Chase Young back, and that's it. But either way, I mean, it's a great extension for Terry. He gets the money he deserves. It's not quite A.J. Brown money, another player from his class. Yeah, it's not. It's about $4 million short of that total, so about like 1.25 per year, ish. 1.33 repeating.
Look at all these numbers.
Co-host guy. Yeah.
But either way, we all know that Terry is debatably a top 10, definitely top 14. I'm gonna weird number, but top 14 receiver, which we will actually be talking about soon. But either way,
I thought that was a solid transition you were going with there, but you didn't even mean it.
Well, I thought you wanted to keep talking about. You done?
You blew it. You blew it.
So it's a great contract for a top 14, maybe top 10 wide receiver, but the top 10 wide receiver topic is always up for debate, right?
Always. Especially in today's age where there's pretty much 20, 25 top 10 wide receivers based on whoever people list. Like, he's a top 10 wide receiver. Okay, then list them. Which people don't always do they?
Yeah, no. They don't. So,
Until today.
you said in today's age?
In today's age.
Well, today's age is today, so let's get right into that.
Look at that.
Top 10 wide receivers between Michael and Joseph. Let's get into it. Do you want to start from one, right? Because it gets murkier and more debatable at the end.
Yeah, that's probably wise.
I think we have different ones, but on three, okay?
On three. On three or after three?
I'm gonna say three, and then
you can't really go on three because you'll be saying three. So it's a stupid question. You can't be like 3 Tom Brady.
1, 2, 3.
Devontae Adams.
Okay, I thought you would have Cup.
It's the extended greatness for Adams for me that puts him over the top. Plus,
I think he's more skilled than Cup too.
Yeah, that too. I think as great as Cup was individually last year, he did get a lot of his production from the slot, which
is
easier to
so easier.
And
it's harder for a corner, easier for a receiver.
Exactly. And Adams the Packers have been more run heavy the past couple years, and he's also missed games, quarters here and there, so his volume stats haven't been as great as Cup's were last year. Maybe if Cup has another year, it'll be more serious.
Look, Cup's not doing that again.
Of course. I mean, another,
No, I don't think he's going to get close to that.
I'm just saying, okay, this could be another hot take. Another hot take video. Cooper Kupp, less than 900 yards in 2022.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying he'll be like a 1,400-yard guy.
Which is still probably a top.
Good. It is good. Right. It's great. I'm just saying. He's not going to. I don't think he'll touch the 16-plus range. There's a chance he gets 16. I don't think he's going to average 100 yards a game at 17, though.
That's
if he even plays all 17 games. Plus, because, he's torn his ACL before. He's had another injury, too, I think. Don't quote me on that. But, anyways, so that's one. We all know why. Devontae Adams is the best route runner in the league. Has really developed his hands and has some of the best hands in the league now. He's not the fastest. He's pretty big. And he's a great jump ball guy. Just great contested catch guy. Overall, there's no flaw about his game.
He's literally probably a top 3.
Has the most aesthetic release I've ever seen. The little jump and then, no one else I know. No, obviously not that I know. No one else besides maybe my number 2 can do that.
Yeah, I'd say Adams is probably a top 3 wide receiver at everything a wide receiver has to do. So he's
except for speed. That's a physical.
Right, more like route running, contested catch,
Release, contested catch.
all that kind of stuff. He
Hands in
really
general.
has no weakness. Even speed,
Jump ball.
which he's not top 3, he's still above average at
Yeah,
that.
yeah, for sure.
So, yeah, he's number 1 until he's knocked off number 1.
Yeah. Number 2 on 3. Well, after 3. 1, 2, 3.
Justin
Jefferson. Wow. It's really the same thing. Justin
Yeah.
Jefferson is the second best route runner in the league.
He's literally just like
He
a
has-
younger Devontae Adams, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, sorry. Justin Jefferson is going to have a similar career path to Devontae Adams minus the beginning of
Yeah.
the career struggle.
So he could honestly, if he stays on this path, be one of the best wide receivers in NFL history. I know it's just 2 years. But
No, I'm with you.
he's had over 3,000 yards in his first 2 seasons. Like, that's unheard of.
Yeah.
Probably not, but you know what I mean. I didn't look up that stat, but it's pretty good is
I
what
know.
I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, Justin Jefferson, again, is like almost top 3 at everything. I'm not sure about contested catches, but, route running, I'd say he's number 2.
And he's the other guy
Wait,
you were probably referencing with the hop step that Adams does,
Yes. Yeah, because it's beautiful.
which I referenced in both of my videos on Devontae Adams and Justin Jefferson. If anybody wants to, youtube.com/MyKennedyNFL, shameless plug.
Always a shameless plug. You gotta be. I literally don't have much to say. It's the same thing as what we said for Adams.
Yeah,
and what
Jefferson is just
He's
amazing.
elite. Yeah, ever since day one. He was like number 7 going into this year.
And it's funny,
That's it.
yeah, it's funny because remember at the time of the 2020 draft, he was not like he went after Henry Ruggs, Jerry Jeudy, Jalen Reagor. Like he was not that highly
Seen as like the
and
the
even
wide receiver of the
he didn't
class.
even start the first couple games for the Vikings. He blew up in that game against Tennessee.
week 4, 3.
Yeah, I think it was week 3. What is that? I am blanking on that guy's name who is starting over him, but he's not an NFL starting caliber receiver. So the fact that he's had this success even while starting a little slower is tremendous. But number 3, if you want to get into that.
1, 2, 3.
Cooper Kupp.
I have to put him here. I don't want to.
This is
I
the
wanna put him at
lowest
4.
I think you can put him after last year.
I know.
But
I just think the person at number 4 is just more impactful.
that's fair. Like, if, say, Cup does fall off next year, like you predicted, 13, 14-ish.
Fall off. Let's put in quotes, okay?
I mean, technically, it's a regression,
Yeah.
even if he does do that, then you could probably defend putting whoever your number 4 is ahead of him. Just the fact that he's coming off this 2,000-plus yard season, including the postseason with the Super Bowl MVP, Triple Crown, like...
It's like there's so much. How does he do in the advanced stats? Do you know?
He's at the top of everything, at least last year. So, like...
I know, but like it just bothers me because I know that deep down, Cooper Kupp is not as good as last season. I love Cooper Kupp. I love him with a passion. He's a great player. I do not have a hatred for him at all. He's one of my favorite receivers to watch. I just know he's not that player and never was and probably won't be again.
I mean, to
just
be
think
fair, I
with
don't
the
think
upgrade.
any wide receiver was ever that player ever. So,
Well, you know what I'm trying to say? With the upgrade at quarterback, having Sean McVay playing out of the slot mostly, I mean, that stuff just helps you so much. And being kind of a handsome man, I mean, I don't know.
didn't know you were
kind of
into
actually is-
Logan Paul,
No,
Jake Paul. Which one does he look like?
I don't know. They're twins, dude. Are they? Wait, no, they're not.
You're supposed to be the young, hip, cultured one on the podcast.
Dude, no one. I mean, I see like Impulsive. They're one of their podcasts. I think it's Jake. or is it Logan? I literally have no idea because I get them confused. On like TikTok, like I'll see clips of it, and it's actually some of it's funny because like they got like, I think they got Ben Shapiro on there one time, and I don't like agree with anything Ben Shapiro says, but you gotta admit sometimes listening to him is funny. But yeah, stuff like that. Either way, yeah, I got Kupp at 3. Obviously, he had the best wide receiver season of all time, winning the Triple Crown, going for over 2,000, including playoffs. He's also a great route runner. He's pretty good at contested catches, like that one. He had one great catch in the Super Bowl, as we know, the one that sealed the Rams the game, basically. I mean, he is a great receiver, don't get me wrong, but I think around this time next year, we won't be talking about him here. I think my number 4 will replace him.
All right. Do you want to get into that number 4?
Do you have anything to say?
I think we hit on everything for Kupp. I'm just really intrigued to see if
1,
we have the same
2, 3.
Tyreek Hill.
Can we
got to differ
something?
somewhere. I know we will later on. That's why we started with the top. But yeah, Tyreek Hill, I figured when you said impactful, that's like the best adjective to describe Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek Hill. I mean, dude, his speed is just game changing. The whole defenses have to plan around Devontae, Justin Jefferson, and Kupp, but defenses have to do everything they can to make sure Tyreek Hill does not get past them deep or on a post or even catching a slant and just going. Like, he's the most impactful receiver, I think, in the NFL right now because of the attention he brings. Well, yes, sometimes you got to double Devontae and Justin Jefferson. You don't cover them like you covered Tyreek Hill.
I might go as far.
Also, I will bring up the Tua thing, his arm strength. Yeah, that might be a concern. Watch my video, shameless plug, youtube.com/Fanatics Sports. There's 2 S's in the middle. But either way, even with Tua, even if he has the weakest arm I've ever seen type of deal, he'll still take a slant to the house. Tyreek Hill's a walking 1,200 yards minimum, but that's only because he doesn't get like 100 receptions like a Kupp or a Devontae Adams would.
And remember, people said the same.
Because that's not his game.
People said the same thing about Joe Burrow that they say about Tua, not to the same extent, but that he had a weak arm.
I know.
And add a great deep threat like Jamar Chase, and look what happens. They light the league on fire, pretty much. So, not too worried about that. Tyreek's going to get his regardless, as you said. I might go as far to say that obviously he's not the best receiver over this stretch of time, but in terms of that impactful deep threat, he's probably the best the NFL's seen since Randy Moss.
Oh, for sure.
Oh,
I mean, you got like Deshaun Jackson, who's up there for sure. I mean, very underrated, I think you should know. Definitely, you got to watch his prime for the most part, you know?
I remember I was first introduced to him when he dropped that ball on Monday night against the Cowboys before going into the end zone.
But either way, he's obviously one of the best deep threats of all time, but he doesn't compare. Actually, might come his Eagles days, you might be able to say it's similar, but obviously Tyreek Hill is miles better than Deshaun Jackson, but I felt like I said Watson at a point, but I don't know.
I actually thought you were going to say that, but then you didn't, and I was surprised.
Well, with all of his news, I might have gotten the names mixed up. Yeah, But either way, I got Tyreek 4. You did too.
I did too.
We both know I think he's most impactful in the league right now. I'm not sure about you, but
prediction: do you think we're going to have the same 5th player, or is this where we're going to differ?
Yes. All right, 1, 2, 3. Stephon Diggs. Look, man, Stephon
I think
Diggs,
the bottom 5 is where we're going to differ.
I hope so. I think we have the same 7. No, we definitely have the same 6 and 7.
Huh?
Probably 8.
We'll see.
So, Diggs, I mean, he's not I don't know how to put it. He's obviously elite, but I can't think of anything that he's top 5 at.
Really? Route running?
I can.
He's right up there with Adams for route running.
Well, okay, yeah. But I don't know. He's just so good at everything. I mean, yes, route running is his best attribute. I was going to bring that up. I think he's probably top 3 or 4. Most like I think Justin Jefferson's better at route running, and you could debate Cooper Kupp maybe, or even long shot. Keenan Allen is a great route runner. I know he's like old now and stuff, but he's top 5 route runner, I think. I don't know if I can name.
I think he's probably 5th at this point.
Yeah, so those people are in the conversation. I should have reworded that. I knew he was top 3 or 4 because it depends where you put Kupp at route running, but hands. I mean, you got Devontae, you got D Hop. I mean, Tyreek Hill doesn't really drop much, and the way that he contorts his 5'10" body to get those. Cooper Kupp's got great hands. Same with AJ Brown. Mike Evans has good hands. I wouldn't put him top 5 in hands, I think. You see, this is confusing about Stephon Diggs to me. It's I know he's great, but besides route running, I can't point out one thing that is the top of the league.
I would say
attribute.
I think for his size, he's one of the best contested catch receivers in the NFL because he's kind of
5'11"?
small. Yeah, he's small, but
6'.
he can get up there.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, he's not going to be like Mike Evans towering over people, but
yeah,
he's dominant in those
can do
situations.
it if you need him to.
Yeah. But I think what makes him great is that he just, obviously, we mentioned he's a great route runner, but he just gets open. He'll just find open grass. He might run off his route, but he's going to find open grass, turf, whatever. And
in zone coverage, he'll find that spot.
Yeah, he's going to get a first down. He might, just run out of bounds, fall down, whatever, but he's going to get you the necessary yards you need to get. It might not be as flashy as Tyreek Hill or whatever, but, he's just good at everything so that he's great overall. I do want to point out, it's a nice takeaway from what we have on the list so far. The most telling thing is how important route running is to receiver play.
Yeah.
I think that's easily the most important trait a receiver can have is be able to get open. The other guys don't last.
Because you got people I just blanked so hard. I was trying to think of someone who's a good receiver but just couldn't get open.
Kenny Galladay.
Yes. Oh, thank you.
He'll flash, but it's not going to be sustained if you can't consistently get open.
Yeah. 6?
6, I think we might differ here. You ready?
I hope so.
Why'd you say it like that?
Because I want to talk and not just say the same thing. All right, 1, 2, 3.
AJ Brown.
Chase. Okay, that's fair. Do you want me to start? Do you want to start?
I'll start by saying this topic first came up because I did a video on AJ Brown about a month ago now, and I claimed that he was a top 5 receiver, talent-wise. I specified that. One of my friends, Sam, if you're listening to this, Sam, tweet at us, tweet at the show, tweet at me, tweet at Joe. He called me out on it. He's like, I need your top 10 receivers.
Oh, wait, that rhymed. That was like Dr. Seuss.
Thank you for appreciating it. But he called me out.
Our poll is 3 votes.
And I was like, okay, so in my list right now, AJ Brown is technically not in the top 5, like I said. But when healthy, his talent, he has a top 5 caliber talent is what I was trying to say. I didn't say it well enough in the video, so I'm sorry, Sam, but I do think AJ Brown has that talent. But like we said with Terry McLaurin, the system does not allow him to showcase that in the statistical department. His yards per route run, PFF grade, all that advanced stuff show how great he is, but we know how much the Titans love running the ball, and the Eagles are probably going to do the same, so you probably won't see it, but his talent, he's one of those guys who's just great at everything.
I agree. I mean, you'll see AJ Brown shortly, to say the least. Spoil on my list, but I have Jamar. I'm guessing you have him similar to where I have him, maybe 7 or 8, maybe 9. dude, he's just explosive. Like, his hands were an issue coming in the preseason, but, I mean, I didn't really see him drop much. He did drop a couple balls here and there. But that guy is just such a great deep threat. Great after the catch. We saw that in the Ravens game where he broke that tackle in like that kind of like spin thing over the middle of the field. I mean, sure, he's not the best route runner, which is why I can't put him any higher.
That's fair, yeah.
You know, he's not bad, but he's not like the 4 of the 5 people we've mentioned it before. But he just finds a way to get open deep no matter what. He'll catch it most of the time, and we saw him in contested catches situations.
It's hard to say.
Against people like Tre'Davious Ward. Is I pronounce his first name right?
Close enough. Travarius.
Who is a very solid corner. Sure, he's not top 10, but I mean, hey, he can get a stop if you need him to. But we saw him absolutely just destroy him on a top front corner of the end zone touchdown. I forget what week or when it was, but you know that happened, and then it just stuff like that kept happening. Like, what game did he break out? Wasn't it week 1 against the Vikings?
Yeah, he was great from the very start.
Just great from the start, yeah. Which is weird because like I remember I made a video right after the preseason. And everyone was like, "Oh, is Jamar Chase going to be good?" And I was like, "Yeah, I forget what I said in the video, but I did make a video about it, about the concern." And you know, he showed out in week 1. I mean, there's nothing inherently bad about his game, but there's some things that aren't great.
Yeah, and we know he started out really hot, and then he kind of hit a lull. He hit the rookie wall, if you want to call it that.
Yeah, he did.
But
yeah, he did.
He bounced back big time. Like, he had, over 200 yards against the Chiefs? I don't remember the exact numbers, but so...
I think that was the game I was just talking about.
I'm pretty sure, yeah. As a rookie, to show that you can bounce back and not just ride out the season, you know. Yeah, he had 11 catches, 266 yards, and 3 touchdowns. 2 weeks after going 1 for 3.
That's like what I would do with Jalen Waddle in my Dolphins franchise right now.
And then he even had...
I just traded Jalen Waddle.
Is he in your top 10?
No.
No, he shouldn't be in anybody's. But
no, I got him. He was like number 1 receiver in the league for me. I got him to like a 99. Just he was 32 looking for money. I was like, all right, I'm getting ready. Give me 2 first-round picks, Arizona. It's like 20-30 by now. So
I remember those days.
I play like 5 games a year. I don't play like the whole 17. Don't worry.
I used to, on my NBA 2K career, I would play literally every single regular season game and every playoff game. I went through like 3 or 4 full seasons on 2K14. I was a point guard for the Jazz.
Dude, I would just play my career to get like my badges up because I was a Pro-Am guy.
I didn't even play online. I just played my career.
Number 7.
Yeah, I'm weird like that. Anyways, number 7. 3?
1.
Oh, yeah. You start with 1.
Whoa.
I forgot. 1.
1, 2, 3.
Jamar
A.J.
Chase.
Brown.
I don't think we have much
We're not.
to say.
We're not doing this again. Yeah. 8. I feel like we might differ.
Let's hear it.
1, 2, 3.
Deebo Samuel.
God damn it!
This is why we're such a great duo.
Deebo is the Taysom Hill of wide receivers. He's just a gadget guy who can do it all. No, I mean like the way that he can do so much.
I know, but you could find another gadget guy to compare him to. Anything mentioning
the Steelers, the Steelers guy who Cordell Stewart.
Right? The Steelers guy.
I was barely alive when he played.
I didn't even watch him.
You were 2 years after, probably.
I was 6 when he got benched for Tommy Maddox. I didn't even care about football then.
What year was that?
2002. You were born, I know.
I might have been a fetus. At that point I was born because if the season is in the, whatever.
His nickname was Slash for a reason. Quarterback / running back / wide receiver / punter.
Yeah. All right. We'll say he's like Cordell Stewart, but better because he had like 1,400 receiving yards, 8 rushing touchdowns, 6 to 8, something like that. I don't know. Which is whatever he had was the all-time record for rushing touchdowns by a receiver. He was basically at times their legit running back when Elijah Mitchell went down, who I love, by the way. And, I mean, again, Deebo Samuel really, like, is not that elite at many things when it comes to being a wide receiver, except for after the catch. My God. He will take screens just gone, which is, I think, the way you think of drops is the way I think of screens. Hear me out. Screens on a year-to-year basis, yards after catch, but I really mean specifically on the screen pass, because you have players like Deebo Samuel who just take screens and go, you know? Or, like, one thing I will say is, like, Jarvis Landry, when he was with the Dolphins, the way that offense ran, he just caught so many short balls and would get some yards after catch. He wasn't great at it because he's not the fastest man in the world. Like, Deebo's very fast, but that sort of stuff is not... What's the word? What's, like, the way to say this? You know what I'm saying, because you have the same opinion about drops, but I don't know how to word it. It's not consistent on a year-to-year basis, you know? So maybe Deebo will not be as good next year, especially if they keep him playing at running back, which he's not going to because he refuses. But, yeah.
Deebo had
he's explosive.
A historic year last year. Had over 2,000 yards from scrimmage, including the postseason. Only Cooper Kupp did that ever in a single season. But I think 8 is the highest I can put him just because of the things you mentioned. Like, he's solid at everything, but he's not really a real receiver. Like, he has a lot of body catches, you know, like a running back would. It's just, I don't really know how to predict him or anything because he's used in so many different ways. But it'd be disrespectful to leave him off the list. So I think this is like a tier break right here where the guys above him are clearly better all-around receivers, and then this is where there's the next tier of these guys could jump up or these guys are on the downswing, and so he's right in the middle, I think.
Yeah, I mean, after, I'd say it kind of goes like up to 7 gap, Deebo, maybe a small gap, and then whoever you have at 9.
I'm pretty confident we're going to have a different number 9 based on previous...
I swear. 1, 2, 3.
DK Metcalf.
Okay. I see why. Look, my thing about Mike Evans, I'm going to go first this time because I allowed you to go first last time when we had different. Sorry. Mike Evans, I think he's one of the most disrespected players in the league because, I mean, yeah, everyone just brings up like how consistent is, but they don't actually like to talk about him as a player. Look, he is 6'5". He is not he's not insanely fast, but he can do the job. He's great at contested catches. He's not the best route runner, but he does find a way to get open at times. More than at times, because he's, I'll bring up the consistency thing, has never had under 1,000 yards to his name in a season. 8 straight years to start his career. He's also a Super Bowl champion, was a big piece of that. I mean, besides, like, really route running, I mean, you know, you can't really think of anything he's bad at.
There's only
like
so much
this is kind of like
you can do at that size with your body in terms of route running to get open.
And he's done great at, like, succeeding. I mean, obviously being a 6'5" receiver is very helpful, but sometimes, honestly, being the shorter receiver might be even better because you can be more quick, which is really what you need at wide receiver. But he's found a way to make it work, being a little bit of a slower jump ball guy. He still has very big plays, like deep, long plays, you know? Pause. Oh, my God. But Terry Rozier probably looks at stuff like that, but yeah, I mean, you got to respect the numbers that he puts up, you know? Even if it's like 1,050 yards, you know, it's the fact that he just keeps doing this. I can't name another receiver that will probably ever come close to that again.
Justin Jefferson, maybe, one day.
You know, that is a good point, but, I mean, we also have to keep in fact, like, health, maybe he gets hurt. I mean, you know, because I think it's, like, nearly impossible for a single player to stay healthy for all, now, 17 games for like 8 years
Right.
plus probably 9, knock on wood, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, I will say this about Evans. It's crazy how he's pretty much from the previous era. We've seen how all these teams are moving away from those giant jump ball receivers to these quick underneath route running, get open, and he's still one of the top receivers in the league, depending on where you put him. Maybe, what are we at?
I'm
8,
guessing
9?
you don't have him in your top 10, but I'm guessing you also have him like right outside.
I'm
but we'll
guessing
get to
that he's not the best receiver on the Buccaneers, in my opinion, but that's another discussion.
that is fair. That is your opinion.
But
I will not argue that because that is a very 50-50 topic.
I'm going to go a little hotter than that for a second here. You said that Mike Evans is one of the most, what'd you say, underrated, underappreciated?
Disrespected. Not disrespected, because like no one says he's bad, but it's like people just like to try and dismiss him when you talk about the top receivers.
They do. You said that. I'm going to go on the other foot. I think he's one of the most overrated wide receivers in football.
I
Mostly
can see that as well.
because of what you said. Like, people always point to that consistency. He's had over 1,000
I
yards.
did say that, though. I did
know.
say that it is like annoying when people bring it up.
It's
I will say
kind
that.
of
However,
like
it is something. It is something you kind of like have to say at least once in the argument, you know.
It becomes an issue when that's pretty much the only thing that a lot of, not you, but a lot of people say. It's kind of like the Russell Westbrook thing where he had a triple-double, but James Harden had, 9 rebounds. He was right on the edge, but just because of that, even number that everybody likes.
James Harden.
Everybody likes to look at that 1,000, even if 991 or whatever is just as good as 1,001.
Who likes James Harden?
Different topic. Anyways,
Yeah.
a lot of those years, 1,051, 1,001. He literally had 1,001 yards in 2017, 1,006 in 2020, 1,035. So half of those years, he barely eclipsed the mark. Granted, he has a lot of touchdowns. He had 4 double-digit touchdown seasons, but that's mostly a red zone threat thing. I was saying touchdowns are one of the more least telling stats for a receiver. It's more the yardage ones, whether it's yards per target, yards per route run. I see a lot of talk for Mike Evans to the Hall of Fame. I don't really see it. He's probably going to get in because of longevity and the volume stats and also a ring now since he got to play with Tom Brady. But was there ever... Probably in 2018 was probably the only year that he was a top 5 receiver in the NFL. Other than that,
I'm not sure what the top 5 was looking like in 2016, but he was really good that year too.
Yeah, so maybe 2 years.
I was like, what? Was that AB and Julio Jones like?
That was 2015.
Yards.
2016, AB got hurt, but he was. I think 2016 was when T.Y. Hilton led the league in receiving yards.
Oh.
So, yeah, probably
That
2
year?
years. I'd say Mike Evans was a top 5 receiver. But, yeah, he's not on my list. I'll go with my number 9.
That's fair. I will not get... This is not something I will get mad at you over, because you know I will about certain other stuff, like other rankings.
Like maybe
This is
DK
not one of
Metcalf being in the top 10.
You know what? Just talk about it.
I
You know
think
what? I'm going to do my thing where I turn off the camera because I don't even want to participate in this conversation nor be seen having it.
I just think DK Metcalf.
Keep in mind, guys. Wait, I'm sorry. Can I just say one last thing?
Go ahead.
I have DK Metcalf at 11. So.
You're so close to the mic. It's like.
I'm sorry. I have DK Metcalf at 11. So, like, I do hate him, but I have to respect it. So, but I am just going to let you talk about this. I'm just going to sit here.
I don't even have much to say. I just think DK Metcalf is a younger and better version of Mike Evans, in my opinion, since we're on the topic of Mike Evans. He has the size. He's also one of those guys who doesn't really fit into this era, but he also has the explosiveness and just he's one of the best deep threats in the NFL, which is strange to say considering his size. And he's actually underrated as a route runner. People think he's just this big stiff because they remembered those combine numbers. But he really improved in reception perception. I mentioned earlier Matt Harmon's project. It is 73rd percentile against man coverage, 92nd against press. Not too good against zone, but he doesn't really see much of that. He's more of a complete package than some of the other receivers we might mention being in these spots. And his 2020 season was just spectacular. And even, we mentioned this, I don't remember if it was last week or a couple weeks ago, he produced with Geno Smith last year, which is saying a lot. And especially the Seattle team without Russell Wilson in general was not good at all. He was top 15 in yards per route run each of the past 2 years. I know this is a top 10, but that includes players like Gabriel Davis, Corey Davis, Cole Beasley, who had, like guys who obviously aren't in the conversation or who have lower volume rates and whatnot. So, yeah, DK Metcalf, I think he's a complete receiver. And again, with some of these receivers, you just want to see him with better quarterback play. He's not going to get that with Drew Lock or Geno Smith this year. Not Baker Mayfield either, since he's not going there. So I don't think they're going to trade him at this point. Maybe next year, maybe in the middle of the season. So his stats will probably suffer, and he might fall out of some people's lists. But I think it's only a matter of time before he has one of those, 1,500-yard, 15-touchdown seasons.
I mean, once he gets over like the 13-ish mark, I'll put him at 8 probably.
Over the 1,300?
No,
the 13.
I don't know.
What were you saying?
I just got to stop my hatred for him.
Because he had 1,300 yards in 2020.
I know he did. I know he did.
And he had 22 touchdowns the past 2 years combined.
Look, I just don't like him, okay?
Is it because of his hair? Is it because of his personality?
No, I don't care about the hair. It's just, I don't know. Anyways, by the way, I haven't been able to see you for a while. It says your video is being recorded, but your internet is weak.
Mine or yours?
Yours says still recording video at high quality. Mike Kennedy internet is weak. Don't worry, they're still recording at high quality. Just want to
Great podcast content. You've been lagging and stuff, but I can see myself clearly.
Oh, okay. It's because of your internet. You got the McDonald's Wi-Fi right now. No, you got the
University of Florida.
Florida, yeah. I get them all mixed
up.
up.
Are you gonna say Miami?
So many big schools. There's so many big schools in Florida, dude. I get them all mixed up.
There's 3.
Do you know where I go to school?
Massachusetts something.
UMass Boston, yeah. Anyways, number 10.
Number 10. I
still haven't made up my mind.
I changed this right before we started recording.
I have 3 people I can say. 4 people.
Right. Pick one and go with it.
Yeah, I'm gonna do 2 honorable mentions and not talk much on them, but
yeah, I've got a couple listed too.
1, 2, 3.
Terry McLaurin. Okay.
Yeah, so I was between him and DJ Moore for 10.
I had Chris Godwin 10th, and then when I was looking up stats for McLaurin and just thinking more about it since he signed the contract, I was like, they have pretty similar stats over their careers. One's got to play with Jameis Winston and Tom Brady, and the other's played with, we've mentioned before, that list of names.
Yeah, I like why I was going to talk about DJ Moore, but if you want to steal, do we have to talk about Terry again? Because we've already.
Not really, no.
No. So 10, Terry. We've already talked about him earlier in the pod. My honorable mentions. Obviously, I said I have Metcalf at 11 or 12. DJ Moore at 11 or 12. I don't really know where to put. They're in the same range for me. Then I have, believe it or not, DeAndre Hopkins somewhere because last year was not DeAndre Hopkins. He was hurt, wasn't producing the same when he was playing. And then you have Keenan Allen up there, I'd say. You have again maybe Michael Thomas. This is where it gets murky because you gotta think about the guys that have been hurt, like D Hop and Michael.
Yeah, I on mine I listed Michael Thomas would be in there if not for injury concerns, and DeAndre Hopkins.
He
So I
would
didn't
be
even consider
he would be
them.
above Diggs.
Thomas would be in the top 5, in my opinion. People really sleep on him. They always have, just because of memes and whatnot.
I still think D-Hop, fully healthy, is the most complete receiver, like, potentially in the league.
I don't know if
Just
I'd say
because-
complete. I think he's
Not
one of the
complete,
most impactful
'cause-
ones, like Tyreek Hill is, but he's not the best route
that's kinda
runner
what
and
I meant.
whatnot.
Yeah, I know. But, like, his hands are, like, some of the best of all time. That's not a joke or hyperbole.
Just look at that one catch against the Giants they got called back for penalty. Like,
Yeah,
stretched behind him and caught it with one hand while running forward.
I know. But, like, DJ Moore, for example, I mean, similar thing with, like, Terry McLaurin that I kind of brought up about fantasy earlier. You know, bad quarterback play. I know you don't like fantasy. It's fun, though. It's fun to bet money on it. You know, he's a good receiver, just bad quarterback play. I mean, DK, you already brought him up. Keenan Allen, he's just been also, like, consistent. He's been really good. Gets a lot of catches, and he's a good route runner. I mean, he's open, you know.
Yeah, I had a couple of those same honorable mentions. Chris Godwin was my 11th. As I mentioned, he was my 10th before I swapped him. But DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, like you said, I also listed Tyler Lockett, Deontay Johnson, and T. Higgins, I think, could be in the mix.
Yeah.
T. Higgins actually had better advanced stats than Jamar Chase did last year. I think it's maybe a volume
but, like,
thing.
that at that point.
Like, I'm not going to put him over him. It's just a fun thing to mention. Keenan Allen, a couple years ago would have been on here, but he's older now, less efficient, at least in terms of, like, yards per reception, yards per target wise. He had 1,000 yards with under 10 yards per catch a couple years ago. I actually noticed a couple weeks ago when we were talking about DK Metcalf, we posted on Twitter asking if he was a top 10 receiver or not, and Joe posted his top 10, and it's actually changed a bit since then, because I recall he had DeAndre Hopkins.
At that time,
and
that was
Keenan
right
Allen.
off the top of my head. This was my list now is, like, with actual, like, research.
I'm glad you improved, because I was going to go off on you if you actually put Keenan Allen above DK Metcalf in the year 2022.
I kind of did that kind of like as, like, a meme. Just, like, because I knew it would rattle you, you know.
I respect it.
Yeah. Anything else in the top 10 / honorable mentions?
This actually went more smoothly than I thought, considering how heavily people would debate top 10 wide receivers. We only had a couple differences, and they were like a swap here and there. It wasn't like a huge...
Yeah, okay, well, 6 and 7, there really wasn't a difference because it was a swap. 8 was the same, 9 and 10 were different. No, 10 was the same, 9 was different. I will say, though, let's just get into the quiz. I know the other thing would be smart to talk about. However, I do not have much time.
You don't have to, like, talk all vague about it. You can let the fans
We're going to talk about the NBA free agency and trades. I mean, we're football guys anyways. But, I just don't. I have to go in, like 15. So.
All right. Yeah. Since we're talking about wide receivers, first, this is the quiz, everybody. So
this is where the fun begins.
Talking about wide receivers, in 2021, 9 wide receivers had 15 or more contested catches. Can you name them?
In 2021.
In 2021.
Terry
McLaurin led the league with 25.
Not surprised. Jamar
Chase is not one of them.
Try
again. What's the number?
15 or more contested catches. DK Metcalf is...
You can't win!
Sorry for the harsh one. I didn't mean to click that one. That was a solid guess.
Come on. Cooper Kupp. I'm just gonna say it because he had.
That's the best you can do?
146 catches. How do you not have 15 contested catches and 145 catches?
He got open a lot.
Anyways, Tyreek. Devontae.
What?
T. Higgins.
T. Higgins had 16.
Just receivers, or do tight ends count?
Just wide receivers.
Justin
Jefferson.
Pathetic.
Michael Pittman.
Michael Pittman was 4th. He had 18.
Kendrick Bourne.
No.
Try again.
But you're in the right neighborhood.
Jacoby Myers.
Jacoby Myers was 3rd in the NFL. He had 19 contested catches.
Let's go. Stephon Diggs.
Stephon Diggs had 15.
Godwin.
Try again.
Same neighborhood.
The other Bucks receiver, Michael Evans.
Michael Evans did have 15. You got 4 more guys.
CeeDee Lamb.
CeeDee Lamb is incorrect.
We also forgot about him in the honorable mentions.
Yeah,
I just want
he's-
to say that. And Amari Cooper.
They're both in the honorable mentions.
Yeah.
No disrespect, guys, all right?
Yeah, I'm just going to say him because he had a lot of catches. Hunter Renfrow.
Try again.
This would be very ironic. Marquise Brown.
That's the best you can do?
That
Jalen
one should
Waddle.
have been the worst one.
You can't win.
Keenan Allen.
Pathetic.
Teammate.
Deontay.
Think of Keenan Allen's teammate.
Oh my God, the best jump ball receiver in the league, Mike Williams.
Mike Williams had 21, which was 2nd in the NFL.
Yeah, I should not. That should have been my first guess. That's literally his only elite thing about him.
You got 3 more, and they're all tied for 5th place with 16 each.
Adam Thielen.
Try again.
AJ Brown. You didn't.
That's the best you can do?
It is. Tyler Lockett.
I'll give you a hint. 2 of them play in the AFC North.
Okay. Ravens. Not the Ravens. Steelers, Browns. Jarvis.
What?
AFC North. Tyler Boyd.
Pathetic.
Sammy Watkins.
You can't win.
Steelers. Chase Claypool.
Chase Claypool.
No way.
Yeah. That's pretty much all he does.
Yeah, but I just feel like he didn't have any catches this year. There's another AFC North.
I'm pretty sure you didn't say him, or I'm going crazy.
Not Jamar. Not Tyler Boyd. I said Marquise. Let's think of the Browns. Only receiver on that team is Jarvis Landry. Is it like Donovan Peoples-Jones?
Try again.
I'm pretty sure
Rashard
he
Higgins?
was up there, though, for a while.
Pathetic.
Come on, man. You're going to feel so dumb when you...
All right, let's go through the Bengals. All right. Jamar, Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins. Don't hit the button. I'm just naming
It's
names.
T. Higgins. You did not name him yet.
I did say him.
Did you?
Yes.
If you say so. I don't recall, but I also was not able to edit my document to mark off which ones you named, so... I'm sorry.
Do I have
I'm
left?
sorry if that was... Oh, no, you do have one more, actually. I forgot. AFC South.
Like Marvin Jones.
What? How did you get that just like that?
That was like my best quiz
I
ever.
was going to say, that's like the first time I've ever been shocked and impressed. That's the first time it
quiz?
feels like you won the quiz and you didn't get bullied. You just threw
Is there another quiz?
There's one more if you want to do it.
I'm so proud of myself. Yeah, I got to ride off that.
Want to do it?
I'm on. I have good momentum.
All right. Since Baker Mayfield got traded today,
Oh, God.
the Browns' last Pro Bowl quarterback was in 2007. In the 14 years since, 12 Browns passers have thrown for at least 1,000 yards. Can you name them?
Deshaun Kaiser,
Yes.
Ryan Fitzpatrick.
He never played for the Browns, so let me...
Pathetic.
Brian Hoyer.
Brian Hoyer.
I get them confused a little bit, like when I think of like those types of teams.
You know, the guy with the big bushy beard and the guy who is bald. Yeah, same person.
I mean, dude, they're like the... Ryan Fitzpatrick is like the tier of backups ahead of Brian Hoyer. You know what I mean.
And I'll give you Baker Mayfield as the freebie. He actually had nearly 3 times the passing yards that any other Browns quarterback did during that span. So, speaking to how he was a success. Who?
No, not Case Keenum.
No, not Case Keenum. He only had 508.
Colt McCoy.
Colt McCoy did indeed. He was 3rd place on the list.
RG3.
Robert Griffin III only had 886.
How many do I have left?
You have named 4 out of 12.
12? No,
I know
I'm
you're
not
not
getting
getting 12.
12.
But there's a couple you should get on here.
Brock Osweiler.
He never played a regular season game for them.
No. He was on the team, though.
Yeah, and they
right?
cut him after training camp. Or after preseason.
Oh, for real?
And that's why Deshaun Kaiser started the entire 2017 season.
Yeah. Brandon Weeden.
He's 2nd place.
That's awful.
And he only played like 1 year and 1 month. Because he got benched shortly into 2013.
I'm going to call it soon, by the way, because I'm not going to be able to get them.
Come on, think draft busts.
Oh, Johnny
Manziel. And I know it's before your time, but there was another draft bust who was also drafted 22nd overall, just like Manziel and Weeden. But this was in 2007.
Jeez. That's 5.
Jeez.
Is this like a notorious draft bust?
It's pretty solid. It's not like a Ryan Leaf, Jamarcus
I know
Russell.
this isn't him. What year does this start?
2008.
Okay.
But this guy barely played in his rookie year of 2007, so that's why he still qualifies. Played at Notre Dame.
That doesn't help me. I don't know colleges.
I think he's on Fox Sports.
Did he play for any other teams?
He played with the Chiefs and the Broncos, but I don't think he really saw action with the Broncos. But he started for the 2012 Chiefs.
Who is it? Chad Henne?
It is not Chad Henne. Chad Henne was drafted by the Dolphins in 2008. But you were close. You want me to give it to you?
Yeah.
It's Brady Quinn.
I mean, okay. I mean, I could have, and probably should have gotten that one, but like, you know, I probably should. He's an analyst.
Yeah, college football analyst.
Okay, that's why.
It's like Brady Quinn, Reggie Bush, Matt Leinart, a bunch of.
Oh, so I just all strip college Hall of Famers. Okay. I'm giving up though. I'm not.
I will say this. I did mention that the Browns' last Pro Bowl quarterback was in 2007. Do you happen to know that person? Because he's also on this list. No. Derek Anderson. That was him. He made the Pro Bowl.
He made the Pro Bowl?
Yeah, the Browns went 10-6 that year, just missed the playoffs.
Yeah, he was a backup. He was a backup for the Panthers after that, right?
Yeah, he was the guy who started when they benched Cam Newton for like one play, and then he threw a pick 6. The other guys on the list were Seneca Wallace. I know that was before your time. Cody Kessler.
Okay.
Jason Campbell. He started in 2013.
I know
he
who
was
he is when I've
mostly
gotten
the
him.
quarterback who threw to Josh Gordon that season. And then
Okay.
the last guy was Josh McCown, another one of those journeymen in that.
Yeah, I mean, like I could if I thought hard enough.
But solid.
Yeah, but like
You missed what, like 4?
for that type of quiz, I did okay.
See, I try to limit it to like a certain point where I know you will not get it at all. Because even 2008's like half of that
I'm
he
still
wouldn't even
surprised
get.
I got Marvin Jones, dude.
Just off, I said AFC South. Marvin Jones.
I said it while you were saying AFC South.
Like, I would have to
I will not
think
lie,
to
though.
remember that he played with the Jags.
I have the receiving yards leaders up. I will say that. Because, like, I was just trying to think of names,
Right.
at a point. Because I said Marquise Brown. I went to the second page and I saw, like, Mike Williams. I didn't even see him, though, Mike Williams. I just, was like, oh, my God, I'm stupid. I just look. I see Tyler Lockett right under Marvin Jones for catches. And I'm just like, oh, Marvin Jones?
Like, I would have gone through so many other players before I got there. Like, it makes sense because he's a jump ball receiver, but just even remembering that he was with the Jaguars,
Yeah.
Anyways, nice job today, co-host guy.
Thanks. Yeah. Well, we thank you guys for tuning into the JM Touchdown Show. My name is Joe of Fanatics Sports. Joining me today is obviously my co-host guy, Mike Kennedy of KennedyNFL. Subscribe to us on YouTube. That will be in the description below for our video listeners. If you're on audio platforms, just look up Fanatics Sports or Mike Kennedy NFL on YouTube. Also follow our socials, our Twitter. I actually have it pulled up right here. Finally remember the username. Actually, I don't recall the username. At JM Touchdown Show. I always think it's TD Show because our Instagram is.
We're gonna learn it one of these days, hopefully.
Look, yeah.
We need to have consistent
at JMTD
branding.
Show, we run fun polls, and by we, I mostly mean Mike, unless mine is about Terry Rozier and his porn addiction.
Is there an update to that? Do we have any more votes?
We have 2 votes for $10,000 or more, and 2 votes for an insane amount. There are no tweets. There are no votes for 9,999 or less, or I'm afraid of this tweet.
Until now.
What did you vote?
I said I'm afraid of this tweet.
Oh, okay. All right, well, thank you guys for listening. Follow our socials at JM Touchdown Show on Twitter. We only post our podcast thumbnails on Instagram, so go ahead if you want, but
please do.
TikTok.
Don't try to dissuade them.
No,
if we have more followers, we will post more.
Post.
Exactly.
Anyways, thank you guys for listening. I hope Terry Rozier does not have lotion next to him. Have a great day, everyone.
And I do want to say, last week during the outro, we asked people if they had listened to that point of the episode to tweet us about our YouTube analytics, because that's what we were talking about. Only one person did so, and I'm sure we're not surprised. It was Tom of Clonecast Pod. He mentioned it in a tweet. So thank you, Tom, for being our one loyal listener. I mean, I know some other people at least listen to some episodes. They're probably not completionists listening to us ramble at the end. So we should probably do that at the beginning of next episode. But if you've listened to this point, tweet at Mike Kennedy NFL, at JM Touchdown Show, or at, what's your Twitter? Fanatics
Sports with 2 S's at the end.
Tweet at us.
Let's take a time out, though. Why'd you say yourself first, and then the podcast, and then me? You could have either said me and you, and then the podcast, or the podcast and then us. But no, you went out of your way to say you, the podcast.
It's force of habit. I'm always telling people to follow me. You know, it just comes second nature. Mike Kennedy NFL. Mike Kennedy NFL. You can't blame me for that. And most of the people who follow us on Twitter follow them because of me. So, exactly.
I get it.
And if any of you are afraid to publicly announce that you listen to this podcast, which I don't blame you for, feel free to DM either myself or the show. I won't
if you made this fun in the video, tweet at Terry Rozier and say you need help.
and screenshot it and send it to us, because I'm not going to be checking for that.
Yeah.
But be nice about it. Don't go harassing.
He is a part of a... He is... I'm pretty sure he's a blood, so don't be stupid.
I think I'm all tapped out, co-host guy.
Why'd you give me a side like he isn't actually in a gang?
It's just the random things you always bring up that I never would have thought would be a topic on the podcast.
Look, that's what I bring.
I know. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's just that's co-host.
All right, can we end this? The outro music has been playing for a minute and a half now.
I just tried to end it, and then you talked about Terry Rozier's gang
All right,
relations.
stop recording. We're just ending it like this. Stop recording.
Woo.